Hey, what's going on, guys? Maksymkorzh here. Recently, I've been looking for some options and opportunities to create my very own tiny little Linux distribution that would contain only those things I actually want to have there. And in particular, my requisites are no GUI, Python, and internet support via Wi-Fi. So that's pretty much all about it. And I've been trying to compile my very own Linux distribution absolutely from scratch, like downloading the kernel, compiling the kernel, uh, downloading and building the busybox, binding this all together, and I did even manage to create a static version, a static build for Python with a whole lot of limitations, but still I was kind of able to boot into the Python shell. That was my Linux basically, but that was quite limited because I didn't have network in there, and yeah, so it wasn't really that great. But recently, I found an absolutely amazing minimalist Linux distribution called TinyCore Linux, which is probably, I don't know, it's the best possible ever minimalist Linux distribution ever possible. It has absolutely unique packaging systems, which we'll cover just right in a moment. And what is the most interesting about this? You can start by downloading the very basic, like this 11 megabytes core, and then you can start adding the packages on top of that from under the core Linux, from under the TinyCore Linux itself. You can even do this in the GUI, which will cover exactly how to do this from the GUI in this tutorial in particular. Although it's possible to do from the command line as well, but it's for more experienced users. Anyways, in this video I will build my very own TinyCore Linux, let's call it distribution. So here are the requisites that I have. So first, I need the Wi-Fi networking. So I'm on a laptop, and my laptop only can only connect to the network via Wi-Fi. So that's the first thing. And I already have the list of just typed here some packages that we're gonna be downloading in order to get it work. Then I want Python, and I want pip. So that I could download the packages. I'm gonna be installing those packages locally to the user to the user folder, right? And what is really interesting here is the way how TinyCore Linux is supposed to be installed, or better to say, not supposed to be installed on the hard drive at all. So the idea is that you can load this from the USB flash drive, and then you just specify the home folder on your USB flash drive, and whatever changes you've made during the session, let's say you've downloaded some packages, or you can change something to like ash rc, for instance, in the home directory, and then when you reboot, TinyCore Linux would fetch everything from your local from the home directory that is located on the USB flash drive. So it's an amazing combination of the live Linux CD, but meanwhile you can actually store whatever you've been doing into the home folder, which is really cool. For instance, you just download some Python packages like requests, for instance, and you just store them locally. And then when you load this again, your request library is going to be on the cards again. So that's kind of it. And also, yeah, for instance, what I want to do, I want to make my Linux system boot in directly into the Python shell, so that not booting into the bash, but actually booting directly into the Python shell. And before that, I want to prompt the user to select the Wi-Fi SC to connect to. And once you've done this once, the second time it would automatically fetch the password, which is also good. So I want to get prompted like which Wi-Fi to connect to. I select the Wi-Fi, and then going directly into the Python shell, and from there on you can start writing some Python code. So that's the idea for my kind of further ideas of I want to make a so-called Python Linux distribution where everything is going to be happening like from within the Python shell. But it's not really essential for this tutorial, because in this tutorial we're going to be covering exactly how to build your very own TinyCore Linux distribution using those tools that are provided by this amazing like package of tools and this distribution in general. So some resources I have to mention. So they have a fantastic book that covers everything you need to know about TinyCore Linux. I have this book being downloaded here. It's free and it's absolutely fantastic. All you may think of, all the questions you may come up with, all those questions are covered in that book. That's really cool. The second thing is what we need to do is downloads. Where are the downloads? Downloads. Okay, so there are 3 packages. So the most the tiniest one, this core, 16 megabytes. Then this TinyCore with a graphical desktop. They are using FLTK, FL Window Manager, and then Core Plus, which have a whole lot of things, plus the network support. So we need to download this Core Plus and the Core. And here is the point. So the Core Plus will first burn this into the USB flash drive and boot from this, and we will be using this to create our custom own distribution based on this one, based on this core. So Core Plus to get access to the tools, to get access to the internet, and then this core is just to build on top of it. So what I currently have here, so we'll need UNet booting, which is the tool to burn the ISO image to the USB flash drive. Well, I'm on Linux, and I think hopefully you're on Linux as well if you're following this. So this is just a copy of the core book that I have. So here is the Core Plus ISO, and here is the core current, which is so this is the minimalist one. So this should be 16 megabytes. It's like 16 megabytes here. That's it. And this one probably, so this one is quite big, so 164. Okay, so first we're gonna be burning this to the USB, and then here I have already that, like, from my previous attempts, like my customly built one. My customly built one is a little, it's not that little, but I have all I've been mentioning here in the video. So let's just actually delete this. We don't need this for now. And I'm starting the gparted, which is the standard Linux tool to format flash drive. I'm going to be using to format the flash drive basically. So here is my gparted. I'm going to dev SDB, which is my USB drive. It's already plugged into the laptop. So here first I say unmount, and then format to ext4, and it's essential to format to ext4 or ext2 if you want to have the persistent home directory being located on your USB flash drive. That's quite essential. If you do like FAT16 for instance, it's not going to be working. So ext4 or ext2, and apply all operations, and yes, and formatting my USB flash drive. And we are done. This is good. Now we need to remount this again to make it possible to burn the ISO using the UNet booting. So just click on this, it just gets mounted automatically, and I got it here back. So now it's totally empty, so nothing there. Okay, now this UNet booting is what we're supposed to be using. So just open the terminal and say sudo UNet booting, and here we go. So I want the disk image. Browsing the ISO at my desktop, home CMK desktop, and first I'm burning this Core Plus / current ISO with this 150 megabytes. This is essential because this is going to be used as the snapshot for our custom build. And we'll then mount our I will then mount my hard drive when I boot from this one, and that's how I get the access to the core current, which is this minimal tiny snapshot we're going to be building our custom distribution on. Okay, so I open it here and okay, and it's copying the file, so then copy the bootloader. So far so good. And after this, I will reboot my computer, and I change the camera because I can't record the screen when I will boot through this tiny core Linux. So I'll just put up a camera so you would be seeing my desktop like in the camera view. It's not that great in terms of the quality of the image, but anyways, the good thing is it just helps to walk exactly through the exact steps that we need to walk through. All right, so exit from here, and now we are ready to reboot the computer.